Hello everyone, this is Josh Oakes. I'm excited in this video to share with you 7 tips to make your small business stand out online. I have an absolute pro with me today, Amanda Del Balso, straight from New York. Amanda, welcome to the video.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, it's awesome to have you. I've known you for many years now, and you're a great friend, but you are so busy working at Google in New York, doing some really incredible work. I'm glad I could steal you away for just under an hour to do this with you. So what is your role at Google real quick before we jump into things?
Sure. So I've been working at Google for almost 5 years now, and my job is really to work with our advertisers on mastering their business presence online, which is why I'm happy to bring you the 7 tips here. And a lot of what I do has to do with advertising, but we also look at things like websites and how the experience is for people on mobile. So I'll try to share with you some of the best and the brightest that I've learned over the years.
I'm so excited. Well, let's do this. Let's jump right on into the good stuff. Can you walk us through the 7 tips that you're going to teach us?
Perfect. Yes. So these are an ambitious 7 tips to cover in the next 60 minutes or so, but I'm sure we'll get through everything. The first is really thinking about your website online. So when someone is, maybe looking to buy a pair of shoes and they're doing some research online, what should that look like? How do we best get people to actually use your product or service? So we'll talk through some best practices there. The second is, people are really busy, they're on the go all the time, and they use their smartphones constantly to do research, to buy things. So we'll talk through some tips for really delivering a great mobile experience for all those busy people out there. And then the third thing is something that people might be less familiar with, this ability to really claim your local listing, as we call it, or really your business kind of entity in Google Places. It's sort of like Yellow Pages online. So I'll talk through, again, best practices there. And then Google Plus is something you've probably heard of, but many people don't realize that it's a great area where you can really establish a local presence and deliver some great social content to the people that you're trying to reach and solicit some great endorsements, kind of plus ones as we call them, so that it's a great kind of spokesperson for your brand as well. And then number 5 is putting this all together and promoting your products and services with a basic AdWords campaign, which is not as intimidating as it sounds. It's a completely self-service model. And again, I'll bring you some tips that I've learned over the years in that section. And then the last 2, 6 would be install Google Analytics for tracking. Obviously, we want to be able to learn and iterate on all the strategies that I just mentioned, and Google Analytics is a great free tool that you can use to get all sorts of information about your website, about mobile, about Google+, and really, learn from that and figure out how you can do better in the next round. And the last piece, especially for the small business community, is just really engaging with that community, both online and offline, and really learning from others. So I'll point out some things that I've seen happen online and being shared in this community, and hopefully you guys will find some of that really interesting as well.
Awesome. Walk us through step number 1, how we can create a website for desktop searchers.
Perfect. So I included in this presentation some stats from some of the studies that Google's done with Compete and other sources over the years, and it probably doesn't shock you that most small business customers are going online and researching different businesses before they buy. So they're probably checking out the brand, kind of what's available. I live in New York. There's tons of places to buy the same thing, all from local businesses. So maybe I'm looking at places that I've passed and kind of learning more about the business. And we've seen that the amount of people engaging in that kind of behavior is constantly growing, right? People are getting more and more attached to their computers, so we see that, people are doing this activity more than they have, say, a couple years ago. So some best practices here, I always say to think of your website as what you want to portray the same way you would when someone, walks into maybe your store or is the first time that they're seeing your product. So you generally want to start with an image or some other way of really conveying a great aspect of your value proposition, of your product, of your service, and kind of giving people the one-liner, if you will, the elevator pitch, but in kind of website form. And then obviously within the other layers of your site, depending on how complex your product or service is, you want to think of the different, theoretical shelves that you would have on your store and how you want to organize that. And that's going to correspond to the different, maybe pages and other places that you could send people throughout your website. So those are some general best practices. I think what's also great is also giving people a sense for what they can do with your product or service. Do they need to go in-store to buy it? Can they buy it online? And again, providing a lot of that value up front so you're really clear about the action that people should be taking and that you'd like them to take as soon as they get to your what we call the landing page.
Awesome. Walk us through the next step, which is providing a mobile. We just talked about desktop, but talk to us, what is the best practice for mobile experience?
Sure. This is my favorite topic, and I put the bullet here. Mobile is big because we have this conversation constantly at Google, but also across digital media and marketing and digital in general. And I don't know if most people know this, but we actually expect that more searches will be done on a mobile phone than a desktop or a laptop computer by the end of 2014. And actually that keeps getting sooner and sooner as there are even more searches happening on mobile.
Yeah.
So that's pretty incredible. The thought that people will literally be looking for information more online while they're maybe riding the subway or in the car than they would, sitting at home and doing research means that it's really important for businesses to think about the experience that they have or that they're really giving their customers when someone is searching.
Mm-hmm.
If your website comes up and you have to click and zoom and you can't really get the information, the likelihood is that person is going to go back and maybe search again and wind up at a competitor or at some other maybe larger business where they have a good mobile experience and they can even make the purchase there. Maybe they won't even make it to your store. So those are all the reasons really that it's important to have a good mobile site, and I'm excited to let you guys know that there's this awesome website that Google helps develop called howtogomo.com. It's at the bottom of that tactical tip there. And there you can actually get a description of sort of how your site renders on a mobile device, so you can see it on different devices in case you have an Android or an iPhone. And then our system will actually also suggest tips for how you can best create a mobile site. So things you want to think about are, oh, there's the site.
Yeah, this is really cool. Now this is owned by Google, you're saying?
Yes. So in the upper left it says mobilize your site now by Google. And you see there the second little section says test your site next to Why GoMo, which is our kind of code name, if you will, for Go Mobile. And that's where you can access this tool that we call the GoMo Meter, where you can get information about what your website looks like on a phone and then also some of our suggestions. So I would encourage you all to go home and test your site tonight. Hopefully you're super excited to go ahead and do that now. And then there are also some other great instructions in the latter tabs on how to get started with actually making some of those changes.
Now that's a cool resource. That's amazing.
Definitely. And, again, it's going to depend on the business here, but you could, really be pushing phone calls. You could be pushing people to come into your store. You can be pushing people to make a purchase on their phone. There's all the different behaviors you could think through, but that tool will hopefully help you make some of those decisions.
That's awesome. Howtogomo.com. I think that's the biggest key takeaway I've seen in a lot of these presentations. Walk us through the next step, which is claiming your local listing on Google Places.
Okay, perfect. So my favorite example here is pizza. It's also one of my favorite foods. So, again, I live in New York. I can't even tell you how many pizza places there are from, my apartment to my office. I probably couldn't even count them. And so if I go to Google and I'm just searching for, pizza, I want to come up with a bunch of addresses.
I hope you're enjoying this video so far. This has been a preview of the Media Leaders Virtual Conference, where you can learn social media, PR, marketing, and sales. There's 20-plus tactical presentations to build your business. You can learn more about it at MediaLeaders.com or register using the link below this video, right below it. Maybe it's above it, but probably below. Now, this conference, you're probably asking, why should I even register? Well, don't buy a plane ticket. Don't reserve a hotel room. Or don't even leave the office, because we're bringing 24 of the best social media, PR, marketing, and sales professionals directly to you, and we call it the Media Leaders Virtual Conference. It's a little bit different. You can register at, like I mentioned, at MediaLeaders.com or use the link below this video. It's designed for small and mid-sized businesses that want online techniques and real-world business advice that's tactical. We're going to give you 7 tactical tips in less than 45 minutes from each one of our professionals, over 24 presenters, that you're going to get the chance to dive in deep into their subject matter. They're experts in their field, and they're the hardworking people that we admire and that we want to hire here at Media Leaders. You can watch the presentations on your schedule at any time as long as you want. Also, if you accept our bonus at the end, you get a free copy of my best-selling book, Light, Bright, and Polite. And as if that's not enough, you get a 100% money-back guarantee if you're not 100% satisfied. I hope you'll join us at the Media Leaders Virtual Conference. You can register at MediaLeaders.com or click the link below this video. I look forward to seeing you at the conference. Have a great day.